Hi, good afternoon, happy Friday. Thanks for being here today. I know we don't usually do briefings on a Friday, so appreciate you adjusting your schedules. So first, starting off, I'd like to acknowledge the end of a successful week of the NATO summit. As you know, Secretary Austin had engagements throughout the week with his counterparts, including bilateral engagements and hosting a dinner for defense ministers on Wednesday evening. This week, we celebrated NATO's historic achievements during the 75 years since its establishment and further deepened our bonds with our NATO allies and other partners. We also reaffirmed our commitment to supporting Ukraine in its fight for freedom from Russian aggression. In support of that commitment, the department announced yesterday the 61st Presidential Drawdown Authority Package, which has an estimated value of $225 million. This package will provide Ukraine additional capabilities to meet its most urgent needs and includes one Patriot battery, munitions for rocket systems and artillery, and anti-tank weapons. For a complete listing of the PDA's contents, I would direct you to defense.gov. Separately, this morning, Secretary Austin also spoke by phone with Russian Minister of Defense Andrei Belousov. During the call, the Secretary emphasized the importance of maintaining lines of communication amid Russia's ongoing war against Ukraine. The last time Secretary Austin spoke with his Russian counterpart was on June 25th, 2024, and later today a brief readout of the call will be posted to defense.gov. And finally, I'd like to provide an update on the temporary Pier, or the Joint Logistics Over-the-Shore capability that has been used to surge humanitarian assistance into Gaza. On Wednesday, U.S. Central Command personnel attempted to re-anchor the temporary pier to the beach in Gaza to resume humanitarian operations. However, due to technical and weather-related issues, CENTCOM personnel were unable to re-anchor the pier to the shore. The pier, support vessels, and equipment returned to Ashdod and will remain there for now. A re-anchoring date has not yet been set at this time. To date, more than 8,000 metric tons, or nearly 20 million pounds of humanitarian aid, have been delivered from the pier to the marshalling area where it can be collected by humanitarian organizations for onward delivery and distribution. As we said when we first announced this, the pier is part of a comprehensive response to the humanitarian situation in Gaza. In addition to enabling the delivery of life-saving aid, implementation of JLOTS has enabled the development of Cyprus as a port for inspections and deliveries directly into Gaza. Aid can now be inspected in Cyprus and delivered directly into Gaza through Israel's Ashdod port and crossings in the north. The deployment of this pier has also helped secure Israeli commitment to opening additional crossings into northern Gaza. Since the opening of these crossings, we've seen more trucks moving from Jordan directly into northern Gaza to help alleviate the dire humanitarian conditions. As we announced yesterday, the pier will soon cease operations, with more details on that process and timing available in the coming days. We're very proud of our service members and all those supporting this effort and who have enabled vital humanitarian assistance to get to those in Gaza who need it most. Without a doubt, lives have been saved because of their work and commitment under very challenging conditions. And as hundreds of thousands of people continue to face emergency levels of food insecurity across Gaza, the United States will continue to take all possible action to ensure increased aid flows are sustained at the scale needed to meet the needs on the ground. As we've said from the beginning, DoD will continue to work closely with USAID and others in the Middle East region to support these important efforts. And with that, I'd be happy to take your questions. I believe we have AP joining us on the phone today, so I'll turn it over to Tara Kopp.
Hi, Sabrina. Thanks for doing this. So just on the pier, you said no decision has been made on it, but it sounds like it might just be too much between the sea states and the small amount of aid left to make it make sense to reattach. Is that kind of the deliberations that you guys are going through right now?
Thanks, Tara, for the question. So certainly sea states environmental factors are going to be taken into consideration when it comes to the re-anchoring. Again, as I said at the top, a re-anchoring date has not been set at this time. When and if that does happen, we'd be, of course, certainly to keep you updated on that front. And did you have another one?
I do, a couple. But is one of the options you're thinking is just at this point, because the weather is going to get worse and you'd never really been intending to have it last later in the summer anyway, that this might be the end of the pier.
Yeah, appreciate the question. Again, can't predict the weather. It's something that we are assessing day by day. We know for the next few days there are going to be higher sea states that would not allow a re-anchoring to be possible. Again, at this time, I just don't have more information to provide on when and if a re-anchoring date has been or will be possible. If a re-anchoring does happen, of course, as we always do, we would read that out to you. And anything additional? And then I'll come in the room.
Just one last. Does the Pentagon have any of its own intelligence corroborating that Russia tried to assassinate arms makers, Western arms makers who are assisting with the effort in Ukraine? And was this brought up in Austin's call with his counterpart?
Thanks, Tara, for the question. In terms of any further details on the call, I'm just not going to be able to provide that at this time. I think what you're referring to is I've seen some of those reports. Of course, we always, with any of our allies and partners, always share intelligence and information, but I just don't have more to add at this time as well. I'll come in the room. Warren.
One Pier question and then one question on the call with the Russian counterpart. Whose decision was it to end or not extend the Pier operation? Is that a General Kirilla decision? Is that SecDef or is that the president? And when was that decision made?
To end. So as we always said, the Pier is temporary. A decision, it's not just one person, it is a collective decision that is made. And of course, a recommendation comes up from the commander all the way up to the secretary. We always said that this Pier was temporary, and given the sea states, the weather conditions that we know were always going to get worse throughout the summer, the mission of the Pier will be concluding at some time soon, but I just don't have an exact date for you.
And then on the call